Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 26. Ashvatthaha sarva vrikshanam devarshinam cha naradaha gandharvanam chitrarathaha siddhanam kapilo munihi. Ashvatthaha, the banyan tree. Actually, banyan tree is Vata Vriksha. Krishna is also called Vatapatra Shai. He lies down on the banyan leaf. Ashwatha is the holy fig tree, the peepal tree, under which Buddha got enlightenment. But they are both related, banyan tree and holy fig tree. So anyway, here it is translated as the banyan tree. Sarva vrikshanam, of all trees. Deva rishinam, of all the sages amongst the demigods. Cha, and Narada, Gandharvanam, of the citizens of the Gandharva planet. Chitraratha, Siddhanam, of all those who are perfected. Kapila Muni. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Of all trees I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas I am Chitraratha, and among perfected beings I am the sage Kapila. Please repeat. Of all trees I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas I am Chitraratha, and among perfected beings I am the sage Kapila. Purport: The banyan tree, Ashwatha, or the holy fig tree, is one of the highest and most beautiful trees, and people in India often worship it as one of their daily morning rituals. Amongst the demigods, they also worship Narada, who is considered the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is the representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and among them, the best singer is Chitraratha. Amongst the perfect living entities, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapila became famous, but his philosophy was atheistic. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between them. So, what is the context of this verse? In this chapter, the 10th chapter, Krishna is giving Arjuna a glimpse of his might and power by showing him the highest examples in this material world. Keshava Prabhu. While the class is going on, you should not. When the class is not going on, yes, that's the rule. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so in this chapter, Krishna is showing Arjuna the glimpse of his power by mentioning the superlative degree of power in this material world in the things that we can perceive. For example, He said, among the animals, I am the lion. Now, if we see the strength and ferocity and the power and the courage of a lion, we can appreciate such power. I mean, we have nothing compared to that, right? So, such extraordinary display of power is actually very tiny portion of Krishna's strength. If somebody is gifted as an artist or a singer, or let alone people, even among the fish, the shark is the most deadly, or rather the killer whale, which are the apex predator in the ocean. Now, such power is a representation of Krishna. Among the immovable mountains, I am the Himalayas, Krishna says. So it does not mean that he is the shark. Now suddenly we will put shark on the altar and worship sharks. That's not what he's saying. He's just saying that among the fish, I am the shark. That means the shark, which is the most powerful of all fish, and that is a representation of my power. In this way, he is listing down in the whole chapter, all these verses. We are in the midst of this explanation, where now in this particular verse, he is saying, of all trees, I am the banyan tree, or actually, to be very exact, it's the holy fig tree, or the peepal tree, bodhi. It's also called the bodhi tree. So, he's saying, that tree is a representation of me, Krishna is saying. And of the devatas, of the devarshis, Narada. There are many devarshis. Narada is devarshi, chief among them, but there are many other devarshis. And of the Gandharvas, who is Gandharva? There is a Gandharva planet, and they are very expert singers in that planet. None of the best singers of this earth can even remotely compare to the inhabitants of the Gandharva planet. Exquisite, very, very talented singers. And among them, the chief of them is Chitraratha. And among perfected beings, Siddhanam, I am the sage Kapila. Now, a lot of things are explained in this verse, which we take sometimes for granted and we don't really contextualize. Gandharvas, Gandharvapuram, or Gandharva planet is spoken of in our Vedic literature, and there are many planets such like that, which are spoken of in our Vedic literature. Like even the moon. It is said in our Vedic literature that the moon has civilization many, many thousands of times more comfortable than the earth. And the beings there are far more advanced. Now, when the Chandrayaan landed, or for example, for that matter, any of the spaceships landed there, there's nothing to be found. There's not even air to breathe. What is going on? How come our Vedas said like that, and then should we really believe our Vedas? Instead of questioning this thing, Indians celebrated nicely Chandrayaan 3 landing. They did not question that, hey, what is this? Why are our Vedas describing the moon like that? And there is a beverage on the moon planet which is called Somarasa, which if one drinks it, it's a beverage in the mode of goodness, not like the beverage in the tamasic beverages here, like liquor. It's a sattvic beverage by which one gets strength of 10,000 elephants and very, very long life, like that. So, on the moon, they live for 10,000 years of their time, and their time is longer than ours. Our 1 year is their 1 day, and such 10,000 years they live. So this is explained in this, our Vedic literature. So, should we take it literally or just some figurative language, symbolic, some fairy tales? If we take it as fairy tales, we are basically saying that all the great sages who have such exalted powers in the past, they wasted their time writing Harry Potter kind of stories. Did our sadhus write a Harry Potter story. Vyasadeva, who wrote all the Vedas, he wastes his time on some Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings kind of fiction stories. Is he so mental case or what? He would not. In fact, Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Krishna. Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Here it is said, Srimad Bhagavatam. Is it this one? Yeah. 1.3.21. Tatah saptadashe jatah satyavatyam parasharat chakre vedataroh shakha drishtva pumsholpamedhasah. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati by Parashar Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. So 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas. Before that, there was no need for writing. The memory power and the intellectual capacity to grasp anything after having heard it once was so powerful of the students back then that there was no need of even writing. They used to memorize by heart. When Shukadeva Goswami narrated the entire Bhagavatam, it was 18,000 verses long, and he just spoke out of his memory everything, and he remembered even dynasties that were millions of years in the past, and in other planets, and their sons and sons of the daughters, and whom they married and who's their sons. Everything he remembered, apart from the deep philosophy that is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the highest philosophy and the science of it. Everything. So that was the standard previously, but now, seeing that in the Kali Yuga our memory is all deteriorated, we think we are advancing. We are now we are in the 21st century, we are advancing. Actually, no, we are not advancing at all. For example, we have the TV screen like here, and now there are VR goggles, right? Apple came out with what is it called? Apple. No, there's a, what is the, what? Phone. No, the VR thing. There's a name for that. Recently, Apple came up with that. And when you wear that and walk around and then you think it's virtual reality thing. What is that? Vision Pro. Yeah, not just Pro. Not Pro. Vision Pro. Yes. So, Apple Vision Pro. And they are touting it as the topmost product and nothing compared to it. But you know what? The Bhagavad Gita, this Bhagavad Gita that we are discussing, Sanjaya was speaking to Dhritarashtra in the palace, far away from the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he was narrating live what was happening on the Kurukshetra battle. And if you observe, the first 10 verses of Bhagavad Gita are the conversation between Duryodhan and Dronacharya. The first 10 verses of Bhagavad Gita. So they are on one side of the Kurukshetra field. And on the other side are the Pandavas, Krishna and Arjuna. And Bhishmadev also was there. Bhishmadev heard and he blew the conch shell. So he was explaining what Duryodhan and Dronacharya were speaking, and also what Krishna and Arjuna was speaking. How was he doing that? If it is not just like a CCTV camera, he was watching everything. CCTV cannot understand anything, cannot hear anything almost. And it's from one angle only, that's it. He was able to zoom into any part of the Kurukshetra war. Apple Vision Pro, nothing compared to that. And he can smell, we cannot smell from these devices. We can only see and hear. That's it. But full experience with all 5 senses, we cannot. Sanjaya had that. Much better than our TVs, much better than all these virtual reality, all that. Much better than all of that. And without dependence on these devices. This is not some pseudoscience. With yogic powers, these are easily possible, very easily possible for yogis, perfected yogis. And Vyasadeva benedicted his disciple Sanjaya, who was explaining to Dhritarashtra. So he benedicted Sanjaya, and therefore Sanjaya could see all these things. Similarly, in Bhagavatam, in the third canto, we have example of Kardama Muni, who was meditating in the forest as a brahmachari for very long, for thousands of years. That's another thing. Oh, what is this? Doesn't make sense. How can you meditate for thousands of years when we only live like 70, 80 years? Yes, that is only Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. Treta Yuga, 10,000 years divided by 10. Dwapar Yuga, 1,000 years divided by another 10. Kali Yuga, another 10 divided by 1,000 divided by 10, 100 years. And that is also reducing. We think our lifespan is now increasing with medical, inventions. But we are stupid enough not to know that at the same time we are killing babies in the name of abortion. So if you average out all that, our average lifespan is decreasing. Because so many human beings are being killed at age 0. According to WHO, the statistics is 73 million per year. And mind you, the World War II, 75 million people died. And every year, 73 million babies are aborted. Nobody is even talking about it. Okay. So, we have a very skewed perspective of what is reality. We have to know what is reality from the Shastra. Krishna is the engineer of this world, not these scientists. Why do we have so much faith in what the scientists are saying? They don't even know how the universe began. They say Big Bang. They cannot prove it. They're just saying Big Bang. They cannot prove it. They themselves admit, we do not know how the Big Bang started and what was there before the Big Bang, we don't know. But we know what was there. Krishna is, because he is the one who created. When he explains, then we can understand. So in the Bhagavatam, he explains how he created. And even in Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, the next chapter, he shows his Vishwarupa, Virat Rupa, where he shows that every part of the universe is within him. Completely within his control. Nothing is out of his control. So, Vyasadeva would not waste his time writing some fiction novels, some fairy tales. So what is it then why is there a disparity? If this is science, if this is what Krishna is telling, why is there a disparity between Veda's explanation of the moon and Chandrayan's footage of the moon? Why? You have to question. Philosophically, we need to understand. Scientifically, we need to understand. Otherwise, we will just keep these two things in silos. Oh, this is science, that is some religion, faith-based, whatever, they will just say whatever, for some faith. This is why so-called scientists, they have no faith in religion. Because they, first of all, don't accept. And they think, they're very proud of their senses. If I cannot see, nothing is there. Your eyes are so perfect, is it? You can see everything. Huh? Why there's so much hubris? You know what is hubris? Excessive pride. Why such hubris? If I cannot say, ghosts are there. Ghosts are there. It's a reality. But, there's no proof. It is just paranormal, something. Put some word and make it science adjacent. Not science. Something adjacent to science somewhere. Field. Let's not talk about it. We don't really understand. That's it. When they don't understand, they don't talk about it. They don't investigate. When they do not have powers to do so. So, we should understand that our senses are limited. You see, we only see in the color range from red to violet. And then beyond that, we will say ultraviolet. And this side, we will say infrared. Because our eyes cannot perceive. But there are other beings, animals, they can perceive, like what is it called? Ultrasound. The dogs, ultrasound whistle. The dogs can listen to that sound. We can't. It's very high pitch. It's beyond our listening range. But the dogs can hear. The dogs can see ghosts. We can't. Only some humans can see. Like our temple president, Sundar Gopal Prabhu. He, from birth, he can see. His father also can see. One of his sisters also can see. We can't see. So just because I cannot see, I cannot say that it is not there. So again, so the answer is not there yet, right? Why the moon is not having. So we first of all do not have the faculty to experience life on the moon. For us, every single planet looks dead. Mars is a desert, moon is a desert, Jupiter is a chaos ball, sun, forget it. So everything looks very devoid of life. A lifeless universe is what we see. But that's the illusion of the Lord. The Lord can show us something which is completely different from what reality is. Just like the ghosts, for example. They are there, we cannot see. And let me show you some context on the different grades of living beings. Okay? भूतेषु वीरुभ्य भूतेषु वीरुभ्य उदुत्तमाये सरीसृपास्तेषु सबोधनिष्ठाः ततो मनुष्याः प्रमथास्ततोऽपि गन्धर्वसिद्धा विबुधानुगाये देवासुरेभ्यो मघवत्प्रधाना दक्षादयो ब्रह्मसुतास्तु तेषां भवः परः सोऽथ विरिञ्च वीर्यः समत्परोऽहं द्विजदेवदेवः. Of the two energies manifest, spirit and dull matter, beings possessing living force, that is, vegetables, grass, trees, and plants, are superior to dull matter. For example, stone, earth, etc. Okay, this is so far so good. We understand this. Superior to the non-moving plants and vegetables are worms and snakes, which can move. Haribol, I don't want any conversations going on. No sound, please. Superior to non-moving plants and vegetables are worms and snakes which can move. Superior to worms and snakes are animals that have developed intelligence. Superior to animals are human beings. Now, until now, we are, it's acceptable and we can relate to this, right? Now, superior to human beings are ghosts because they have no material bodies. I mean, no gross bodies. They have material bodies, but only the Sukshma Sharira. There is Thula Sharira, this is Thula Sharira, gross body. Sukshma Sharira is the subtle body. So our Sthula Sharira is made of earth, water, fire, air and ether. Our Sukshma Sharira is made of Mana, Buddhi, Ahankar. Three elements. These are subtle elements. Like for example, I have a mind. But I can't see it, I can't taste it, I can't smell it, I can't touch it, I can't feel it. So, I can't hear it. So, but the mind is there, we know for sure, because we are thinking. So, this is subtle, more subtle than our five senses can perceive. Ghosts, what happens? Who become ghosts? Those who die untimely. People sometimes commit suicide or die in an accident. Such people remain as ghosts for the remainder. Such untimely death, those who undergo, they remain as ghosts. What? What?
A question.
What?
Question. I have a question.
Later. At the end, you take a note of it. So, untimely death, they become ghosts and they remain for the remainder of their lifetime or sometimes even much longer. People think that, if I commit suicide, I will end my problems. Not at all. This is coming from a point of view that there is only one life. After this death, there is nothing. That foolish idea drives even suicide. That, once I'm done, I have no problems anymore. No. The problems really start at that time. Because now he or she has to remain as a ghost, sometimes even for hundreds of years. And sometimes we don't believe. What is this? Come on, you don't make sense now. Well, that's why Krishna sometimes makes some events happen which are undeniable. For example, I don't know how many of you know this documentary of this boy who was born in the 90s, 80s maybe, 80s or 90s. He remembers so starkly, so vividly how he was this pilot in the World War II, an American pilot. And then he was just what? The moment he could start to speak, immediately he was saying, my name is James. His name this time also was James, but his last name was another thing. So he was saying that name, and then he knew everything about the plane, and he even showed where he got hit. Actually, he was a pilot. So then I was driving this plane, I got shot down. Then parents were like, "What are you talking about? Who shot you down?" Then he said, "Of course, the Japanese." He was saying all these things. And this is not just some made up story. So it was researched on the news, it came out. And likewise, they traced back, and actually they found the exact same person. And they found one of the same platoon. He was still living, old man, and he was astonished that this man was his friend, and now he's born again. So sometimes Krishna makes some people remember their past life so that others will start to think, hey, what? Is this real? So we start to at least think, but still we don't think, even after that. Dull-headed as we are, we don't even inquire these things to be important. Because if there is such a thing as next life, then my tendency to prepare for the future in this life should be extended to the next life, right? Like for example, like children. The parents push them, no, you study so that your future will be secure, right? And when they study, and then, get a job, get a family, get a children. So in this way, they prepare always for the future. Then they save up for retirement, or they buy a house, investment, so many things for the future. What about the future after death? We are not preparing. So to instill this inquiry in our head, hey, is there life after death? Then if there is, then why I should not prepare for it? How to even prepare? That is the science of Bhagavad Gita. And in this Bhagavad Gita, this verse, today's verse, is not even an important verse. It's not an important verse. It's not one of the main verses of Bhagavad Gita. He's just listing out all the important, powerful things in this world, or somebody gifted, like among the great singers in the Gandharva Loka, I am Chitraratha, or rather Chitraratha is my representation. Among the Devarshis, I am Narada. In this way, he's just saying things matter-of-factly, nonchalantly. But even these are way beyond modern science. Such less important verse of Bhagavad Gita is way beyond modern science. We don't only know other planets there is life, we also know some prominent personalities of those planets. Like even on the sun, there is a huge civilization, massive civilization, far, far, far more advanced than the earth. And sun god, his name we know, Vivaswan is his name. That much knowledge we have. The prominent personalities are mentioned in Chitraratha, among the Gandharva planet, Chitraratha. So they exist at different dimensions. I'll give you one example in order for us to understand this. Suppose I give you a hard drive and I say, take this. There are lots of movies and photos and games, and you can see so many things inside. Now I take the hard drive, you give it to a kid, and then he opens it up. Where are the photos? Where are the games? Where are the videos? I see only some green board there, PCB board. Where is it? I can't see anything. But if you have the necessary hardware and put this, connect to the computer screen, you can see all those things. But if you open it, you cannot see anything. Similarly, a dog, if you give a hard drive to a dog, you will maybe break and see what is there, and nothing. It's not interested. We are so much interested because there's so many things inside, because we have the necessary hardware to decode that. Similarly, our body, this hardware, of the senses, of the instrument that we have, does not allow us to perceive life on the other planets. They exist on a different dimension totally. Just like even on, forget about other planets, this planet, ghosts we cannot see. There are so many ghosts roaming around. We don't see them. So, we don't even know here on this planet many things. So, how can we be so proud of our senses? Oh, I cannot see them. Seeing is believing, they say. Then you don't even see your own eyelid. So what? There's no eyelid. You don't have eyelid. That's foolish. I cannot see your mind. You have no mind then. You're a mindless fellow. If I say like that, you get insulted. You feel insulted. But then prove it. Show me. So, we have to understand that there are things subtler and subtler. As we go subtler, our senses will fall short in perceiving them. There are different ways to perceive. You have to have the necessary hardware, necessary set of, you see, okay, let's finish this. Superior to the animals are the human beings. Superior to human beings are ghosts because they have no material bodies. Superior to ghosts are the Gandharvas. And superior to them are the Siddhas. Who are these Siddhas? Siddhas, there is a planet called Siddhaloka in this universe, where from birth they are born and they have all mystic powers. You know what are the mystic powers? Here in this planet, yogis have to, in the Himalayas, even if you go now, there will be many yogis hidden away in the caves or wherever, many hundreds or even thousands of years old. But you will never find them to be that old. They will not look like haggard. They will look like young fellows. You will never be able to even guess their age. So, such things are there. But only after such, severe tapasya, they gain mystic powers. And what are those mystic powers? Okay. Is it this? Anima Labhimam. Okay. Here you see the inhabitants of those planets. See, Brahmaloka, Dhruvaloka, and Maharloka, the inhabitants of those planets are empowered with eightfold achievements of mystic perfection. They do not have to learn and practice the mystic processes of yoga perfection and achieve the power to becoming. So, yoga siddhis, there are ashta, 8 in number. 8 ashta siddhis, yoga siddhis. In this world, a yogi has to strive very hard to achieve those, but Siddhaloka, they are born with them. And what are those? Anima Siddhi means the power to become small like a particle. In Ramayana we have this incident where Hanuman, he went to Lanka and he became like a small monkey and he was going everywhere without anybody's notice. These are not some fairy tales. These actually are possible by yogis. And what to speak of Hanuman? Even during the British conquest of India in 1800 something, there was this Digambar Baba who was naked. And he was sometimes, found by the British walking naked on the street. Hey, this is indecent. Come, we'll arrest you. They arrested him, put him in jail. Next day morning, he was not there. Next day morning, not there. And nothing, no jail, nothing happened. And somewhere after a few days, again found somewhere else. Hey, come, catch. Put inside again. What is this indecent? Then again, next day, not there. 3 times they catch. After that, they stopped catching him. Useless, Because they had such power. He could just become small and escape. For him, jail is nothing. So, Anima Siddhi. Then lighter than a soft feather. Laghima Siddhi. They can walk on water. Now we have boats. That is also kind of Laghima Siddhi because you can sail on water. But that is, very, very gross, a lot of equipment you need to do something like that. But yogis, they can just do with their yogic powers. Then, they do not have to get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere. Prapti Siddhi. They don't need Zomato, or they don't need, what is here, grab food. No, they will grab just by extending their hand. Anything. Prabhupada explained that he knew one person who, he went to his room, and somebody sitting in the room also asked, okay, show me that Prapti Siddhi. I want the pomegranates from Afghanistan or something, he asked. He just, meditated, and then he said, okay, it's in the next room. And then they went, actually it was there. Freshly broken branch. You can see all the sap oozing out. The fresh leaves are there. The pomegranate flower, fruits were there. Everything just by sitting. Now we are doing with Grab food and Grab delivery, Lala Move, and India Zomato and all these things. What is that? Blinkit. This kind of stuff. So this is a kind of Prapti Siddhi, but with a enormous infrastructure we need to do something like that. But there, just by will. Then to become heavier than the heaviest, Mahima Siddhi. Dhruva Maharaj, when he was meditating, within 6 months he found Vishnu. As he was meditating, he was standing on one leg on the earth. The earth was going out of orbit. Earth's movement in the orbit was being threatened. That much power, that much weight. To act freely, even to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will, Ishitva. To create anything wonderful or annihilate, like Vishwamitra. He created a whole planet just by will. Kardamuni created a whole aeroplane which can move anywhere in the universe. Elon Musk is nothing compared to him. Elon Musk is very happy by launching one satellite and bringing it back. He went from one planet to another planet to another planet to another planet. And what kind of spaceship? Not like you're cramped and weightless and the hair is all like that. No. And you cannot pass stool or urine. Not like that. Full gardens, palaces, lakes, maid servants, everything in one plane. And huge. It's not like you have to sit with a seat belt there. No fuel needed. Just by mantra. Even Ravana, when he kidnapped Mother Sita, he was going in the Pushpaka Vimana. That is actually Kuvera's Vimana, aeroplane. They don't make even single sound. They don't make any sound. There's no fuel. Just by wish, they can go wherever they want. And even now, there are UFO sightings. Air Force pilots, they see things which they cannot explain. Aeroplanes moving at 1,300 times the gravitational acceleration of the Earth. And they drop down within seconds from thousands of feet above to sea level and then hover above the sea. There's no physics. Our known physical laws, our known laws of physics are unable to explain the movements of these UFOs. Military personnel are bewildered. This one man, he was a top Air Force pilot in America. Top of the top, cream. And this kind of people have a lot of ego. I'm the best. They have this air about them. So and he was one of the best actually. And he was going at 28 something thousand feet above the earth. And as he was going, and there was another thing in the front of him, and what it was, it did not have wings, it did not have any propulsion, and it was moving, like no aircraft would move like that. And then after it dropped so low, and they tried to follow it, they could not match the speed at all. Within half a second, it was at the sea level from 28,000 feet. Within less than a second, it was at the sea level, and they tried to follow, and they just hovering above the sea. And they tried to follow it, and then it just went into the distance, and they could not even follow. Then they felt this fear that they never felt in their life. What he said after that is, We think we have some power. For some reason, whoever it was, they're not doing anything to us. But if they really want, they can annihilate this entire planet in seconds. We have no power. None of our weapons, none of our systems can work against them. And in one other incident, they were shooting bullets at it. It was just absorbing, that's it. Nothing was happening to it. It was just absorbing the bullets and nothing continuing. How to kill anything like this? So these are beings from other planets who have such powers to easily come, and for them it is nothing. We are like, kids for them. Ants. This finishes off if they want. But they're not so, they know. They know the order of the universe. They know that although they are powerful, they don't inflict damage. They are beings with higher conscience. So anyway, creating something or to annihilate anything at will, ishitva. Vashitva, to control all material elements. In another purport, Prabhupada explains is Vashitva means to create wonderful things, but within the laws. Like, a very tiny example of that is the magicians. When they do something magic, it looks impossible. I mean, come on, how did you do that? But they're not defying any laws of physics. They're just tricking you, right? So it's within the laws of physics, but it looks, against the laws. They make something disappear like that, and then something appear somewhere. But actually, they're just tricking us. That is like not even a mystic power, actually. It is just a power to how to trick people. But Vashitva stretches the laws and then, make something very wonderful happen. But Prakamya, okay, Vashitva means what again? To control all material elements. Okay, I'm sorry, the next one. Vashitva is to control all the material elements, to possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire. Prakamya Siddhi. That means his desire will never be, he can do anything, nobody can stop him. Or to assume any shape or form one may even whimsically desire. Kamavasayata Siddhi. And this Kamavasayata, they can challenge the laws of nature, go against. Whereas the Prakamya is within the domain of laws of nature, but Kamavasayata is beyond the laws. They're contrary to the laws. They can even do that. So if somebody has this kind of powers, all this technology that we are boasting about, this is nothing. They can jam this technology in 1 second, they can jam everything. Nothing will work if they really want. And they have their own, they don't rely on these satellites, they don't rely on anything of this sort. They rely on subtle powers. So Siddhaloka, they are born with these perfections. They can fly just like, a bird, better than even a bird. From planet to planet to planet to planet, they can just do that. So, among the Siddhas, I am Kapila Muni, he says. So, he is talking about a Siddhaloka. He is talking about the Gandharva Loka, where there are very, very nice singers. So, such planet is also there. And there's a planet of the reptiles. Now, we talk about Jurassic era, where dinosaurs were there. Such reptiles are there in Nagaloka. Huge, massive reptiles. They are there. So many varieties of planets are there, and beings in those planets have different bodies suitable to live there. Like our body is suitable to live here on the earth, and even on the earth, on the land, not in the water. We cannot live there. So our body is, but the fish are very comfortably living there. You just need a different body to live in that atmosphere. That is also explained. What is that? Vibhuti bhinnam. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्ड कोटिष्वशेष वसुधादि विभूति भिन्नम तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेष भूतम गोविंदमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. कोटिषु अशेष वसुधादि vibhuti bhinnam. You know what does that means? Jagadanda kotishu. There are millions and trillions of universes. Scientists don't know this. Again, they don't know anything. But we, just in a nice, beautifully sounding verse, shloka, we have such expansive knowledge. But our foolishness, especially the Hindus, the foolishness of the Hindus is that they reject this as some stories. They say Hindu mythology. That's a wrong pronunciation of the word. It's mythology. But they say Hindu mythology. They think it is myth. You know, the word myth comes from Sanskrit word mithya. Hindi also mithya. Mithya means false. Our Vyasadeva, our Narad Muni, they are all writing stupid books or what? Harry Potter is false, yes. And big movie, and she is a multi-billionaire now, and movies also make multi-billionaires, $1 billion. Fiction. So much importance. Here, real facts are being stated, and this is some mythology. That's it. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. Jagadanda kotishu ashesha vasudhadi. Each universe has unlimited number of planets. Numberless number of planets. And vibhuti bhinnam. Vibhuti means the atmosphere. Bhinnam, different. The problem with the scientists is that, life may be possible in that planet, maybe in that nearby solar system, where near about the same distance from the star, this planet may have water and air and carbon and whatever, and maybe life is possible as we know it on Earth. This is their problem. They are going into this with a prejudice that life means it should be like this only, like how we know life. There cannot be any other form of life. There cannot be any other body. This is called, in Sanskrit, Nyaya. This is called Kupa Manduka Nyaya. That means a frog which is in the well, Kupa. He does not know how big the ocean is. If another frog comes and tells, hey, I know some water body which is very big, then the frog in the well will ask, how big? 10 times this well? 20 times? 100 times? 1,000 times? He cannot estimate. He does not have the brain to estimate how big is the Pacific Ocean. What is his well? So we calculate, the modern scientists, they are just having little experience of this one planet, that too not full experience. With that little experience, they think that every part of the universe should be like here only. Srila Prabhupada very easily explained as an example. Like the sun. We think life is not possible on the sun. Prabhupada said, it is easily possible on the sun. If you have a body made of fire, if your body is fiery, then you can easily comfortably stay in the sun. And it's one of the heavenly planets. How can it be heavenly planets where it looks like a nuclear explosion every millisecond? Multiple nuclear explosions going on. How can it be? That's how it appears to us. Uninhabitable. But for them, it is just comfortable. Because they have bodies of fire. We have bodies of earth. And let's say 70% is water. You bury and then it will become mixed with the earth. So this is an earthly body. Aquatics, they have their own bodies which make it suitable for them to live there comfortably. We cannot live comfortably there. They are living comfortably. So it is just a matter of, we have to realize that, we cannot be depending everything on our experience, sensory experience. So here it is said, Vasudhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam. Every planet has a different atmosphere and different bodies suitable to live there. Not that they live in spacesuits and, stupid fellows, look like clowns. So they don't live like that. They have bodies comfortably which can live there. And we cannot see. Like we open the hard drive and see, we cannot see the videos. It is subtly there. It is not in the chips, it is not in the. But with another type of seeing, we can see. But if you just look at it directly, you cannot see. It looks like meaningless green stuff. So for us, the moon looks like that with our eyes. But the demigods, the devatas, they can see much more differently. So, in other words, the same thing is seen differently by one person, one class of beings, and another class of beings see it completely differently. This is the illusory power of the Lord. The same thing. So, in this way, we have to scientifically understand how it is possible. Now, with this example, you can understand that, yeah, it is actually possible like that. The same thing we are seeing, but differently seeing with different hardware, and then there's a different perception of reality. So, likewise, we have to understand. So, here we have Chitraratha, the mention of Chitraratha is there. And who is the greatest singer in the Gandharva planet? Imagine here some pop star, or A.R. Rahman or whatever. On earth, many people maybe don't know A.R. Rahman. Indians maybe. And Americans, I don't know, whoever. But the planet of Gandharvalok, he is the pop star there. Chitraratha. And there, they don't sing songs like here. Here they sing meaningless songs. Stupid songs. There they glorify the Lord. They glorify the Lord. And much more melodious than on the earth. After that, you see the earthly singers, they get disgusted. Very beautiful and very melodious, so many things. So, in this way, there are so many descriptions of the heavenly planets and other planets of the universe. Even the hellish planets, how they look like and what goes on there. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of such descriptions. In Bhagavad Gita, he is just giving like very small glimpses. But in the Bhagavatam, much more detail is given in how these things exist. What are the mountain ranges of the heavenly planets, or even the Bhumandala plane, and the rivers that are there, the kind of trees that are there, the gardens, the kind of men and women that are there. All these things are mentioned. So, in this way, we have to understand scientifically. It is a science. We are not dealing here with some, come on, let's listen some Bhagavad Gita and maybe I'll get some good luck. Maybe I'll get job tomorrow, interview, I will pass. For that reason, I'll sit down in Bhagavad Gita class. This kind of foolish idiots, they will go. They will, they are not interested. This is not how we approach religion. This is not how we approach God. We have to try to understand. Leave aside all our desires. We are actually desiring against our own, self-interest. Whatever we think we want in this world is actually the cause of our suffering. For example, we want our family to be all good, nice, healthy, everything. That looks like a decent thing to desire. But at the end of life, we have to quit. Either they will live or I will live. Both will live, whichever first, the second person will feel more pain. That's it. But it is bound to happen. So the more we become attached while we're alive, the more it will hurt us when we're going to die. So we have to understand while we are living that we should not place too much emphasis on material relations, material things, which we're anyway going to lose. It is just a matter of date, when. But we are definitely going to lose them. So why should we invest time in something which is definitely going to be lost? We should rather invest our time in understanding this science, because our relationship with Krishna will never get lost. We are eternally connected with Krishna. We are not finished at the time of death. We are eternal. Najayate mriyate va kadachin. We are eternal. There was never a birth for us. Whatever birth is just we have taken on a new body. Like today you are wearing a dress. Tomorrow you will wear another dress. Like that, the soul accepts bodies just like dresses. And Krishna only gives that example. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Vasamsi means clothes. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Very simple example Krishna gave. Every day we are changing dresses. And every time we change dress, we can remember this instruction of Krishna, that similarly we change bodies. So we should not be too much concerned with this body. This body only will last for, if lucky, 80 years, 90 years. Otherwise, tomorrow it can go also, anytime. But it will go. But we are eternal. Suppose I am billions and trillions of years old. Suppose I am, let's say to grasp within our mind, let's say I am 1 million years old. How, if I just have this body for 80 years, it's nothing compared to 1 million years. But I am not 1 million years, I am eternal. There's no finite time that I exist for. So comparatively, 80 years is nothing. But we place too much importance. Just like our 80 years life, one night's dream, which only maybe lasts few seconds, is nothing. We may see many things in a dream, and sometimes we may even get scared or anxious, but then the dream is over, and after that, it does not have any meaning anymore. Similarly, our previous life, we did many things. Just like now we are doing, and we are very anxious. We were very anxious in our previous life also. None of that we remember now. None of that. And every time we get a new body, we completely forget. Now you may ask, hey, if I forget, why? If I am putting on new garments, I still may remember what I put on yesterday or something like that. Mostly we don't even remember also. But sometimes we may remember a little bit. But how come you are comparing this to garments changing but I don't remember anything from my previous life? Well, that is actually Krishna's blessing that we don't remember anything from our previous life. You want to remember all the problems of your previous life, all the heartbreaks, all the whatever happened to you, whatever happened to your loved ones, whatever, all these things you want to remember. You cannot live even. So to allow us to live, Krishna makes us forget so that we can handle this life at least. Otherwise, we won't be able to handle all that memory. There is one abnormal condition. You know that? There are very, very, very rare. This condition is very rare and it's considered a problem. There are some people in this world who just remember everything in their life. Even if they want, they cannot forget. And it torments them. It's too much for them to handle. They remember what happened 25 years ago with stark detail. Every single thing they remember. And they get depressed because they cannot handle. They want to, some things you want to forget. If you just remember, it will eat you up from the inside. But they cannot forget, even if they want to. So we cannot handle memory. Krishna says, 4:5. Bhagavad Gita 4:5, he says, because before this, why he's saying this? Because in the 4th chapter, 1st verse, Krishna says, I spoke, Arjuna, now I'm speaking to you. This same thing I spoke to the sun god, Vivaswan, many millions of years ago, 120 million years ago. So Arjuna asked, what are you talking about? You are my age. You spoke to sun god. What are you talking about? Then Krishna said this, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. The personality of God had said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. In other words, he's saying, when I was speaking to sun god, you were also there with me, but you could not remember. I remember. And I remember everything that I've done in all of my previous life, not only what I did, every single soul that exists. Don't count the human beings alone. Count the grass, count the ants, count the germs, count everything. Every single soul that exists in multitude of universes, he knows everything that they have done. Imagine the kind of memory, the intelligence, and how Krishna arranges them. Okay, this person has to be born in, say, North Korea. Okay, what he did in the previous life to be born in North Korea, to be tortured like that. So Krishna decides what kind of paap he did, because of which he is seeing Narak on this earth itself. He is seeing hell on earth, or in some war-torn countries somewhere where it is, horrible. So why these things happen? Sometimes people ask, hey, if there is really God, why there is suffering? It is like asking, if there is judge, why is there jail? Of course there is jail. Judge is not responsible. Judge will say you go for 20 years into the jail. But can you say, hey, how can you say that he can go for 20 years? What is this? No, he's not getting punished. He's getting paid very heavy salary. Why? He's just doing his duty. Whose fault is it that he has to go 20 years? Not the judge's fault, the criminal's fault. So Krishna, this material world is a prison. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. It's a prison. So in the prison you can expect only punishment. So this material world is a punishment. Yeah. So Krishna puts us here because of our original crime of not serving him. We are his servant. We are supposed to be in Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means Vigata Kuntha Yasmad iti Vaikuntha. That means where there is no misery at all, that place is Vaikuntha, kingdom of God. Kuntha means anxiety. Vigata Kuntha means there is no Kuntha in that place. No anxiety. No birth, no death, no disease, no, that is the kingdom of God, and we belong there. That is our original home. We were sent into this prison to suffer because we wanted to experiment. Well, why should I serve the Lord? Why can't I be the Lord? Then Krishna said, okay, you try. Because here cannot, you in the spiritual world you cannot. Because I am the predominator. I'll give you something which is inferior to you, matter. Because if you have to be the Lord means you have to be greater than whatever you are trying to control. So that's why he has given us this dead place. Everything here is dead. Earth, water, fire, air, everything is dead here. We are living. So he gave us this dead place for us to rule. Because that is inferior to us. We can only rule something which is inferior to us. Somebody superior, we cannot rule over them. It's not possible. So we are given here. And everybody comes here. Whoever has this desire, they came here. And then they interfere with others, encroach upon their other people's properties. And that's how sin starts. And then every single thought, every single word, every single action is counted. And we are rewarded or punished for our actions. And in this way, we get entangled in this cycle of karma, chain of karma. This is what we have to come out of. We have to understand how to come out of this then. Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajyam mamekam sharanam praja. As much as we have talked about some different planets of this universe, actually we are not interested. That's another thing. The scientists, they're very interested. Let's make a civilization on Mars. Let's make it on Moon. They're saying all this. They're trying to do all these things. We know more than them on how life is on other planets, and yet we are not interested. Because this is intelligence. I should not waste my entire life. You see, Elon Musk is considered one of the most genius persons to have ever existed in the history of human civilization as we know it in the present context. Kardama Muni, as I said, created a plane much, millions of times more superior than Elon Musk's Starship. No doubt about it. But as we know today, modern historians, how much they know history, Elon Musk is considered at the forefront of human civilization with his ideas, with his entrepreneurship, with his vision and scientific acumen, and how he is doing all this space travel and all that. For us, he is very foolish. If you understand the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita properly, or Bhagavatam properly, very, very foolish person. And I'm not just accusing him. This mentality, even Ravana wanted to create a staircase until heaven so that people can actually go there, even they are not pious or what, they can just go there. We failed. So these kind of attempts are always there by demoniac people. This is actually a demoniac tendency to try to go to this and that, force our way in. As much as they say illegal immigrants, like America now has a big problem with illegal immigrants. The Mexican border is basically open. Anybody and everybody from every nationality are going there and entering America, and illegal immigrants. Europe also, in the name of so-called refugees or whatever, illegal immigrants are going. When we try to force our way onto Mars or Moon, that's exactly what we're doing. Illegal immigrants. We had no access to that. And that's why we cannot really access also. We go there and we find nothing. We are bewildered. Everything looks dead to us. Whereas, from the Bhagavatam, we understand that the entire universe, every single planet is full of life. As full as on this planet. Differently situated, that's all. So we, sitting here in one place, we are discussing astrophysics, we are discussing space travel, we are discussing music on other planets, Gandharva. Today's word Gandharva. Chitraratha, we know the pop star in the heavenly planets. Sitting in one place. Whereas our Elon Musk is sending rocket after rocket and again landing back on Earth and then going somewhere. He's trying, NASA is trying, ISRO is trying, and they are, proud of their achievements. Foolish. Because, let me see, you see this verse? No, not this. 8:16. You see what Krishna says? Abrahma bhuvanalokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in this material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So we are interested in this planet, where there is no more birth again. From the highest planet to the lowest in this material world, even if you go to Brahmaloka, where the lifetime is fantastic, 311 trillion, 40 billion years you can live. That kind of lifespan. Imagine what you cannot do, everything. And we can't even begin to imagine the opulence of the Brahmaloka. But even that, Krishna says, it's miserable. Heavenly planets, this is the problem with heavenly planets. Evam lokam param vidyan nashvaram karma nirmitam satulyatishayadvamsam yatha mandalavartinam. One cannot find permanent happiness even on the heavenly planets, which one can attain in the next life by ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by rivalry with his equals and envy of those superior to him. And since one's residence in heaven is finished with the exhaustion of pious fruitive activities, the denizens of heaven are afflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of their heavenly life. Thus, they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings and who therefore never attain actual happiness. That's the position of heavenly planets. So, it's miserable because Punaravartana Arjuna, there is birth and death, old age, disease, and all this envy and all these things are there everywhere. But in the Vaikuntha, none of that. None of that. So we should be concerned about how to go there. So now, how to go there? What kind of spaceship do we need? Fortunately, we don't need a spaceship. In fact, travel to other planets does not work like that. You cannot force your way with some metal piece of metal and then go there. You cannot. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा जगन्य गुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. This is the way to actually go. Those situated in the mode of goodness, sattvic, gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion, rajasic, live on the earthly planets. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance, tamasic, go down to the hellish worlds. So we have to come to sattvic and beyond sattvic. Sattvic is still in this material world. Shuddha sattva or vasudeva sthiti or turiya guna. Turiya means fourth. The fourth quality which is transcendental to the three modes. That we have to come to, and that how we come to that? By engaging in Krishna consciousness. Very simple. As monumental as it sounds. Oh, how come? Elon Musk is doing big, spacecraft to go from one planet to another. You are saying just chant some mantra and then you go do some service here and then you're going to another planet? Yes. Because the vehicle is not a spaceship. Spaceship will never allow you to see anything. It cannot allow you to live there. But with mantra, there are two things. Yantra and mantra. Yantra means machine and mantra means the sound. So now they are trying to go to other planets with yantra. But yogis, they can go with mantra. Just by chanting mantra, they can go anywhere within a moment. And we want to go to that planet where there is no more birth and death, and that is the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. And how to go there? What is the mantra to go there? Because yantras won't work. Mantra, what is that? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Golokera Prema Dhana Harinama Sankirtana. The opulence of the Golok Vrindavan planet, which is the highest of even the Vaikuntha planets, from there this Harinam is descended. Somebody lets down a rope all the way down. If I'm fallen into a big well or a crevasse in the mountains, and I cannot even come out, and if somebody throws me a rope, and then if it's strong enough to pull me, and if I can be strong enough to catch it, I can be, rescued. So this Harinam is that rope from the Golok Vrindavan. If we catch on to it, then yes, we will be preparing for our next life in Golok Vrindavan. That is the process how to. In fact, what to speak, even yogis on this planet, they ride on the sun rays. Do you know? Yogis travel like that. There are yogis who travel on the sun's rays. Just like if there is water, river, you can jump into the water and then with the river's flow, you can go wherever the river is going, right? Likewise, yogis can do with the rays of the sun. They can just hop onto the sun's rays and then go with the rays. And you know what? Today, scientists are experimenting this technology. They are saying light sails. Sail ship, the sail on a ship, with wind it goes. So they are trying to invent machines, very microscopic, light sails, pushed by light. But actually, yogis can already do this. Whatever these guys are trying to think, millions of years ago, the yogis used to do all these things. This is nothing. So we should have a proper contextual understanding of our Vedic literature in this scientific way. Otherwise, if you're going to just think that this is just some let's pass some time in the temple, I have some free time I have, that guy is talking something like, if we just think like that, then we're not going to benefit. We should actually take it seriously. Every single statement of Bhagavad Gita is true. Now, if it just appears very out of the world for us, that's because I'm not yet ready to, I'm unable to experience what is being told here. Like today's verse is beyond our experience. How can you know some pop star in some heavenly planet? Chitraratha, some musician. How do we know? And how would we know, what is that? The Devarshi Narada. How would we know? We wouldn't know. Or Vivaswan on the sun planet. We wouldn't know. But because of these books, we can understand. We can at least have a glimpse. We should not take it to be fiction. Krishna won't speak fiction. He's speaking the truth. Bhagavad Gita is revered since how many thousands of years? Oldest book of mankind. None of the books come anywhere close even. If people think this is 5,000-year-old book, no. That was just the last time it was repeated. Before that, 120,400,000 years back to sun god. Before that, to Brahma at the beginning of creation, 155 trillion, 20 billion years ago. And even before Brahma was born, before the creation was made, this knowledge existed. And in the previous creation, this was spoken. And previous millions and trillions of creations, this was spoken every single time. This is eternal knowledge. That is the meaning of the word Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means there is no beginning in time when this knowledge started, when this whole system of religion started. If you see every other religion that exists on the earth today, it has a start date. We don't have. We don't have. Before the so-called Big Bang, Sanatana Dharma existed. In the spiritual world, it is always existing. That is the definition of Sanatana. Sanatana means there is no beginning and there is no end. So in this way, we have to understand scientifically and logically. Logical reflection, what is that? (11, 13, 33). You see, here the Lord says, Evam vimrishya gunato manasastriyavastha manmayaya mayi krita iti nishchitartha sanchidya hardamanuman sadukti tikshna jnanasena bhajatamakhila samshayadham. You should consider how, by the influence of my illusory energy, these three states of the mind, caused by the modes of nature, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, have been artificially imagined to exist in me. Having definitely ascertained the truth of the soul, you should utilize the sharpened sword of knowledge acquired by logical reflection and from the instructions of sages and Vedic literatures to completely cut off the false ego, which is the breeding ground of all doubts. All of you should then worship me, who am situated within the heart. Krishna is saying this. So we have to understand this whatever we are reading with logical reflection. We should challenge the current worldview with the Bhagavad Gita's worldview. We cannot accept, that is modern. Bhagavad Gita, yeah, it's not so modern. It doesn't make sense actually. It says moon has all these things, but moon actually doesn't have. Let me not speak about that part of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll speak other parts. That means I have zero faith in the book. I should know that Krishna is the greatest scientist. None of the Einstein or Max Planck or what is that recent who died? Stephen Hawking or Elon Musk can match the supreme scientist Krishna. I have to believe what he says. Just like I believe what Einstein says, I did not prove his theory whether it's right or wrong. I just accept. I'm taught in school that it is right. And I'm accepting it on faith. Either I have faith in that imperfect scientist or perfect God. I rather have my faith in the perfect God than the imperfect scientist. So whatever Krishna is saying is truth. Now, if it doesn't appear to us as truth, something is wrong with my perception, which is not allowing me to perceive what is being said here, and the scientists are not are unable to understand as well. But this is always the truth. So that's how we should approach Vedic literature. All right, I'll stop it here. Any questions or comments on this topic or verse? Yeah, you had something.
Subtle bodies and all, right? Like they'll be leaving.
Louder so that everyone can hear.
You're mentioning about the subtle bodies and all, like all these things. Like whoever dies unnaturally, they'll be becoming like that. So usually they said that like whatever that we get on our plate is like sanctioned. Doesn't it mean that like when he is passing away, is it like the order of the Lord?
When a person is passing away?
Let's say like everything is designed right when you should fall. Everything will be like designed like this. So in the same way, like when the person is like passing away, it can be a natural death or it can be a suicide. It is something like the order of the Lord only, right?
So we also have free will. We have free will. So if we are given a certain quota, and if we, with our own effort, interfere with that and end that with suicide or with foolish things that result in accidents, just simply speeding or something like that. If it was within our control and if we abused that, because at any time I can die if I want to. I can do something stupid and die. So if I do like that, then I'll be responsible. Just like if, say for example, a chicken, and if I go and kill and eat, or I buy from the supermarket and somebody else killed it, either case, I will be punished for the death of that person, that soul in the chicken body. Whether that chicken maybe was ordered to, destined to die at the time. But because I became the instrument to kill that, I will be responsible. And I may be destined to die at this point, but because I killed myself, I will be responsible. And either way, even if I die in an accident even without my will, that is also because of some, there is this verse. What kind of people get this kind of untimely death? The Shastras say, Papishthāye durāchāra deva brahmana nindakāha apatya bhojanastesham akale maranam dhruvam. Akala maranam means untimely death. For persons who are papishtha, very sinful, and durachar, misbehave. Misbehave means not simply like, shouting somewhere. No. Misbehave means it doesn't know how to behave. Completely, killing everything, Even animals are considered. We consider animal killing as nothing. It's not even a crime. In Singapore, we say low crime, almost no crime. No, it is full of crime because we're killing animals. But the government does not recognize it as crime. Krishna recognizes it as crime. What is the difference between sin and crime? Crime is defined by humans. Sin is defined by God. What is wrong? So sin, every crime is a sin. But sometimes sins may not be crime in the human way of thinking. Like abortion. They allow. What is abortion? You are paying somebody to kill your own child from the womb. Snatch away all those parts of the body, tear his body open from the womb and kill him, and you're paying. And they're called doctors. Actually, they're hitmen. They're hitmen. You pay somebody to kill someone, that's a hitman job. So these gynecologists who are doing this abortion, they're hitmen or hitwomen. They're killing for money. They're mercenaries. Mercenaries at least can fight a war. No, these people are killers, murderers. So the child who is born like that, who goes into a womb where it is killed, he is destined to go there because he did that in the previous life, he or she. But because this mother kills or causes another person to kill, whoever is involved in the decision making, they are also to be punished. So even if my time is that is what is set, if it is not me interfering in the process and somehow else it happened, that's a different thing. But if I involve myself, it is much greater, because I am now responsible for killing myself. Killing means, of course, soul cannot be killed, the body. This body is a gift by Krishna so that in the human body we can understand these things about Krishna, about who we are, Atma. But if we don't use it, and then already without killing ourselves, if we do all sins, that is also kind of killing. But if I actually kill myself, that's even worse. Last night, we received news of one of our devotees. His daughter, early 20s, committed suicide. Doctor. What?
The brain experience that happened, is it a coincidence that when someone did this, all these people who in the brain, they did some bad thing in the past life, they are all destined to be in that way.
Exactly. Nothing is, when we say coincidence, for us it is a chance or accident. There is no such thing as an accident. For us it appears as an accident because we wanted something and then something else happened. That's an accident. Sometimes it can be a good accident, sometimes a bad accident. I was doing something and by stroke of luck something happens and I win a lottery or something. That's an accident as well for us. That's how we experience, that's our perception of what happened. It's not the fact. That's our perception of what happened. But there's no such thing as an accident because everything is within the plan of the Lord. And it's not that the Lord wants it to happen like that. Some people have to go through that and some situation comes and they actually, Krishna puts them there and then wholesale or, individual, whichever way.
The same thing related to the previous one, right? You're saying free will, saying we have some free will to do the thing, but behind the decision
No. See, whatever has to happen will happen. But do I want to be part of it? For example, the chicken which died, it was supposed to die. Whether I want to be part of that sin, that's my free will. If I buy the chicken and eat it, or if I give to someone, then I'm part of the killing of the chicken. I'm implicated in the killing of the chicken. So that's free will. So if I'm supposed to die, that's another thing. But if I involve myself in that killing, like the child which has come to the womb and die, he is supposed to die in the womb. But because the mother interfered in the process, she will have to pay for it. You may ask then how would the child die if he's supposed to die, then the mother doesn't want her. Maybe some miscarriage, something may happen, who knows. But because the mother interferes in the process, gets it. She has to, they think this is women's liberation, this is freedom of women. Nonsense. They are putting women in hell. The woman who does an abortion, she has to go to hell and she has to face the same plight as what happened to the child. She will go one womb after another womb after another womb, kill every time. And has to go to hell and pay there also. And they think this is women's liberation. Where is the liberation? Liberation means mukti, moksha. How you can get moksha by doing this? Nonsense. They don't know. That's why women need to be protected. You cannot have this, women egalitarian society where men and women all do the equal things. And no, it's different. Men's body is different, women's body is different. Women are vulnerable. Men are not so vulnerable, but not as vulnerable as women. So we have to accept the fact. We cannot run away from the fact, there has to be safety for women. Yeah, safety, then you follow some rules now which are mentioned in the Shastras. You want to come out of the rules and do whatever you want and still want safety. That does not happen. That is not possible. One way or another, it will happen one day. Because Mother Sita went to the forest. There also one idiot came and kidnapped her. Not simply, walking in the night or something, went to the forest. Somewhere in the middle of the forest, still some idiot came and kidnapped Ravana. So these kind of people are going to be there. So why not we wake up to the fact and live in reality instead of wanting a utopian world where everything is safe and there will be no evil person at all. It's not going to happen. There will be some rascals out there. So better be on guard. Oh no, all these days nothing happened. It doesn't take many days to one incident enough. We know what happened in Kolkata, right? One incident enough. My question is, why the society has to fall so low that a woman has to work 36 hours and sleep somewhere in a seminar room or something? Why the civilization has to come so low? How women were safely in their homes previously, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 generations back or whatever, where women were, we're not talking about the invasions that happened, the Mughal invasion, that was horrible. But Vedic times, women were safely in the home, taking care of children, and the man was going to work, simple work, just take care of the fields, take care of the cows, simple life. Why we need to complicate it so much that we have to bring upon us such dangerous incidents or situations? Why? It's a whole systemic problem. It's not just a one isolated problem. Oh, some rascal, he's a demon monster. No. It's a whole societal problem. So many things are wrong in the society. This is just one bubble. There are so many bubbles that we don't even know that don't come out into the open. So it is what it is. So that's why the only way to actually rectify the entire society is to make everybody Krishna conscious. Only our movement can save. That's why we have to have that conviction that this is the only way out and preach this message to others. That's the only way. Otherwise, you cannot, just by enacting laws, by putting something stringently, nothing's going to work. The heart is not going to change of the person. If the heart has to change, he has to become a devotee. We have to somehow or other inculcate this science, this chanting and all this then people will automatically get all good qualities. Alright, we'll stop here. It's getting very late. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare Krishna.